This is The Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier. Positive, inspiring stories of everyday people doing cool stuff, living their dreams, sharing their passions and their talents, and in times like this, important tips to help you and your family. Special Episode 6, Parent Teaching 101, 6 Ways to Survive Homeschool 2020. So, schools are closed and maybe the walls are closing in on you and your kids. So we go to the experts to help you and them out right now. You know, you aren't expected to be the best teacher, but for your sake and theirs when it comes to your home, it's an understatement to say that you are in this together 24/7. So expert tips on everything from using your noodle to setting goals and routines to keep them and you from climbing up the walls. Parent Teaching 101.
My name is Brienne and I go by Miss Brie for most of my kiddos. I do school-based therapy in 2 different Davenport elementary schools.
Wow. So you're around kids quite a bit, huh?
Oh yes, all day. Most of my contact is with the kids.
So you know what it's like then for some parents who aren't used to being around so many kids, now finding themselves sort of surrounded by them in their home.
Oh, absolutely. Even at the end of my days, I crave that adult contact, that adult conversation at the end of most of my days.
And with that, although I said it with a smile, there is a stress that comes with that. So a lot of parents out there are wondering, man, am I feeling this way alone, or are there others that are experiencing the same kind of stresses I'm under now, being a full-time parent at home?
Right. Yeah. This is definitely new for lots of people. And with new things comes stress because we're not sure what to expect. Things maybe aren't going the way we want them to, or first we're told this and now we're pushed back until April 30th. So now we have that barrier right now too. So it's normal to feel stressed right now. It's normal to kind of have that sense of uncertainty because things are uncertain. And it's okay to feel sad and to be frustrated right now. And I think that, we don't want to breeze over that. It's okay to grieve the things we're missing right now, and kind of that normal routine.
And routine and structure, we know that kids need that. Apparently parents need it too. So let's talk about the struggles of acting as a parent, a teacher, and a friend when you have undefined, right? When you send the kids off to school at the beginning of a normal day, a few hours back, they're home, you have homework, you have dinner, you have all these structured things. But when everybody's in the house all day, 24/7, talk about that.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be very dependent on families. Some of the families that I've talked to, instead of being routine oriented, where they have these set kind of times throughout the day, instead they're making goals for themselves. So each day they pick a couple things they want to do together, whether it's cooking a meal or getting a couple hours of schoolwork in, because the mom just straight told me I am not a routine person. That's not how I function. But so they're making it work for their family. And I think the other thing to mention is that it's okay to set boundaries right now too with the kids and yourself. Make sure you have 10 minutes where you can have some alone time and set those parameters with kids. And maybe that's a good time for them to also have that alone time too during the day. So that way we kind of are able to de-stress a little bit and kind of collect our thoughts. Because what we don't want to have happen is have us join in with the chaos and kind of this dysregulation. We want to make sure as adults we have the ability to remain calm a little bit easier than kids do, and we want to make sure we're bringing that to the table.
And maybe we should take some of the stress off ourselves. I mean, we don't have to
Absolutely.
go into this just because we're a parent and say, wow, we're going to be perfect at setting a routine right off the bat.
Exactly. And you have to remember the routines at school are because a teacher has 30 kids. If they didn't, their school days would look a lot different. So you have to remember that too, as someone that might be new to helping their children with so many things, that it's okay not to have a 7-hour school day at home. That's not what necessarily should be happening right now.
Yeah, and we know some of the kids may take advantage of the parent too and say, hey, let me just play a few more minutes of video games and we'll get to that homework a little bit later.
Exactly.
They may test us, yeah. What about setting goals for the day? I mean, how important is that we have fun time and that we have serious time with our families?
Yeah, I think that again, it's going to vary dependent on the family, but even if you just start with one goal a day and see how, that goes with cooking a meal, because, I have some families who have babies to sixth graders, some that, are in that same age range where they can do similar stuff. So, each child may have a goal for that day. Maybe it's just starting with you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth and you make your bed. And that's like what you do for this, first kind of week, just to kind of reset those expectations and getting in a little bit of a routine. We don't want to just all of a sudden after having a few weeks of, no routine, just start putting a whole bunch of expectations all right off the bat.
And we know kids have a lot of questions. This is unusual for all of us and for them as well. How do we talk to our kids about what is happening all around when they hear the news reports of perhaps another 1,000 people we have lost overnight?
Right. So the approach that I've been taking because I'm still doing some phone sessions and some, hopefully some tele sessions in the next few weeks. And my approach is really following their lead, first getting an idea of what they know about it and what they're experiencing about it. And then building it off from there. So I have some kids who are worried about the virus in itself. So we talk about the safety and why we're staying at home and those different precautions. And then a lot of my kids are just worried about the uncertainty. So then we go back to talking about, you're right, it is unsure when we're going back to school. It does keep changing. I know that's tough. So about the virus itself, though, I don't go into too much detail. Again, a lot of the kiddos aren't watching the news like most of us adults are and getting those specifics. But when they do hear stuff like that, I just try to reiterate what they're doing by staying home and kind of putting it in that strengths approach that like you're helping the world right now by not going to school and by doing some of these things at home. And by not going to visit grandma and grandpa, even though that's super tough to not visit even family members right now.
Is it okay to show our kids our emotions and our stress, to talk with them about our feelings too, that we also feel the same thing that they are perhaps?
Absolutely. Our kids are always learning from us. I do think that there's a line, right? Telling them that we're frustrated and stressed and having them see how we work through that as adults is super important. If we're really distraught and need 10 minutes just to like bawl our eyes out and scream and yell, no, we might want to do that in a little bit more private space. It's still okay to do that. And if the kids see, it's not like it's going to, hurt them. But then again, it's on us to process that with them. Mom got really upset with the stress going on. The example I use with kids is like a balloon. If you keep blowing it up and up and up and up and we don't let any of it out, eventually it's going to pop. And that's okay when it pops. But then we have to kind of look at why it popped and where we could have went back to maybe let out some of that air. So it's okay to have both of those things happen. But it's talking with the kids about what happened so that way they can learn from it and know that it's okay to have those things happen and then how to deal with it after it does happen.
So this can actually be a really big learning opportunity too, right? Because they look to see how we process and how we deal with things with this situation that they may be able to use their entire lives.
Absolutely. And that's why I say we don't want to be extra chaos right now. We want to try to provide that calmness, that processingness. But again, no one's perfect. I've had my moments these last few weeks of feeling overly frustrated myself. But it takes practice. And again, this is new and we don't know how long it's going to last. So just kind of being gentle with ourselves is also something that we need to remember.
Maybe an opportunity that people don't realize for our families to grow together. Let's go with the fun stuff now with your kids sitting around the house saying, I'm bored. Have you heard that yet? And what do you do about it?
Oh, yes. I think every parent in every session I've had, they're bored or they're playing so many video games. So something that I also hear though is that there's not a lot of my families don't have access to board games or toys or some of those things that maybe other families do. And so one of the things I kind of wanted to go over is maybe some of those games we kind of forgot about that don't actually have any materials needed, which are still fun. And I do them with some of my play sessions too. So like, for example, charades, one that we probably don't think about a whole lot, but that's a really easy one that you can do for all ages. And you can do different topics, so it's not the same thing every day. Maybe one day you do animals, the next day you do movies. So that's one fun game that I like to play. And as a therapist, I usually do a feelings version too, so that way kids can kind of practice what those feeling faces look like. Another one is Simon Says. And this one I like for parents because this could be, Simon says, go brush your teeth. Or Simon says, go make your bed, and you can kind of use it to your advantage to maybe get some of those other chores done too then in that time.
Yeah, I'm going to try that on my 19-year-old today, see how that works. Hey, I was taking a walk the other day with my wife, and I was thinking this is a perfect opportunity too to get maybe the classroom outside. So let's say you're going for a walk and you're saying, take a look at the tree. Let's talk about how the colors, where the branches go, where the leaves come from, how this is all processed, photosynthesis. You can actually take your lessons and your learning outside, maybe count sticks or whatever.
Absolutely. And even if you're not doing those things because maybe you don't have that knowledge, just being outside, taking a walk, there's the Heart Hunters Facebook page where people are putting the hearts in their windows. You can go look for those. Or even playing I Spy outside, things like that. Getting outside when it's nice and sunny is also going to help with our mood as well. So we want to make sure we're encouraging that.
And as we're talking about going for a walk, let's talk about some other movement things that we can do potentially inside our homes to keep our bodies active, right? That's so important now to help our minds stay clear.
Absolutely. The cool thing about the internet is that you can find almost anything. So a couple of the things that I know are used in the schools, one is Go Noodle. So it's a website full of different dances and different like brain breaks is what they call them, which is still available at home. So you can pull one of those up on your phone or on your tablet. Another good one for kind of that stress relief is yoga. And there's lots of videos on yoga, but the Cosmic Kids kind of YouTube channel, and I think they have an app as well, also has different variations like a Frozen yoga and a Pokemon yoga. So it's really cool to be able to tailor it to kids and try to get them a little bit more interested in some of those body movements.
Pikachu, I see you doing the lazy dog or whatever that one pose is. Right? Hey, what are some of the stuff you guys are doing to try to help make services more available for people that maybe you're having a tougher time? Some of us, just the regular isolation, the regular stress of being at home is one thing. Then that goes to another level where sometimes people need to pick up the phone and call somebody.
Absolutely. So Vera French is still running. We're still here for anyone needing help, kids and adults. So it looks a little different right now with trying to be preventative and be cautionary with spreading the virus. So you can call if you have any questions, but we also have our same day access, which is still running right now. And that's an in-person evaluation that they can come in. The specific times are located on the website. But a lot of our services right now are being provided, just like how you and I are talking, over a HIPAA compliant service that allows us to provide these video sessions, both with adults and with children.
And for some people, just knowing that there's somebody there, you know what I mean? If I get to that point, I can pick up the phone. That's comforting in itself,
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. And there's lots of hotlines. So if you are having specific difficulties, maybe with intimate partner violence or having suicidal thoughts, those, as far as I know, those hotlines are still up and going so that you still have a means to be able to talk to professionals to get the help you're needing.
Are you guys at Vera French hearing from more people that you haven't heard from before, or mostly just the people that you have already dealt with?
I'm not really certain. Being a school-based employee, I'm kind of in my own little bubble with things. So I'm not certain on if things have increased. It is uncertain times, so lots of things are changing. And not everyone is interested in the telehealth is also another barrier, as well as some insurance companies aren't lifting the restrictions on that. It's not many, but so there's a few barriers right now, but Vera French is doing everything they can to make sure, regardless of insurance or not, you're getting your needs met.
Okay, I'm going to really challenge you here.
All right.
Find the positives, find the fun, find the learning opportunities. How do our kids come out of this stronger, happier?
Yeah, and I like to incorporate practicing gratitude with some of my older clients, 4th and 5th graders, because I think it's really important to try to find, even if it's the small things that are going good. So right now, spending time with family, your nuclear family in your home, getting to know them better. We don't spend a lot of time when we think about how much time we're in school and homework after school. So really getting the time to spend that quality time with them, I think is a really good positive, as well as slowing down right now. I've noticed myself, I'm getting a little bit more sleep. I'm a little bit, although I'm stressed a little bit with the uncertainty, I feel a little bit more slowed down and a little calmer, which is a good thing. As well as the family meals. We know that those are really important just in general to have. So right now, making sure you're maybe making family dinners or even just sitting around the table, those are all positives that we can take away right now from having to be isolated.
And it seems like there's a possibility here that this could be a bit of a reset for some people. We have a hard time in this busy world of ours stopping sometimes to smell the roses and to enjoy these little things together. We're kind of being forced to now, and that may make us reevaluate some of what we do in life.
Absolutely. I'm finding that with myself. I'm finding that with some of the families I'm talking to. Some are still working, and although they're worried, they're grateful for that income right now in this uncertain time. And then the others who aren't working are thankful that they're safe and that they're doing the best they can. So, there are positives through this frustrating times. And if, the strengths kind of approach is focusing on those, because we can't control what's not within our control. So we want to try to focus on the things that are within our circle.
Yeah, and perhaps for us parents that feel a little overwhelmed, that if you have a lot of little kids running around, you have to stop and say, hey, someday they'll be grown up and gone. So let's take this moment and sort of make the best of what we have.
Absolutely. Do those things that maybe you wouldn't have done before, a walk at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, right? Like do those things and make those memories that we might not get a second chance to once things go back to our busy, normal lives. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else that you'd like to talk about that we haven't checked in on?
Just a few reminders too, if you're looking for resources, the Vera French Foundation Facebook page is constantly posting some of the links to the things we talked about today, as well as some videos for kids about the virus, and where to find those yoga and videos too. So if you have any questions on the lunches too, on where you can get those free lunches from school, all of that can be found on the Vera French Foundation Facebook page.
You can't bring lunch over here though, can you?
Nope, you have to go get it.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing all of your expertise in this difficult, trying time that who knows, some positives really could come out of this for a lot of people.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of share some different ideas on how to make it through this time together.
Okay, thank you.
A reminder, Vera French, you can find their website at verafrenchmhc.org. We'll have that link as well in our show notes below. And there's another podcast we did just a few days ago on isolation. Another mental health pro tells us that apps and other tech can really help keep us connected. And many more stories too, from racing to teachers, much more inspiring stories on our YouTube and podcast channels right now. If you like what you hear and see, please subscribe, share, give us a 5-star review to help us grow and keep telling these stories. This is The Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier.